Okay guys, so this is demonstration video number 3. You'll find in your booklet as outlined there at the top. And it's the eye drawing transfer basic. It's a detail observational. Okay, so we're going to look at the photograph here and we're going to transfer all of the detail from this image here onto the basic transfer over on the right hand side there. The easiest way to do this is for me personally, is to look for the darkest shades first and work from dark to light. It might be that you prefer to work from light to dark, but I'm going to start focusing on the centre of the eye here. Now, the way that I work best is slightly turning my booklet, as I'm right-handed. If you were left-handed, you might want to turn it that way. But I'm going to turn it around here. I've got my pencil. It is nice and sharpened. Okay, you can use it slightly blunted, but you don't want it too flat because you'll take up too much of a surface area when you're applying the pencil. Okay, so what I'm going to start off with is I'm going to look at the detail that I can see straight away and that I know that I'm going to be able to copy over. And for me, that is always going to be like the jet black tones or shades there, the darkest tones and shades. So I'm going to start to apply that. And just because I know, or I think I know exactly what it looks like on the image, my eyes are still traveling backwards and forwards the entire time. So don't just presume that you know exactly what it looks like. I do advise that you have a little go at going backwards and forwards, because you can see here, there's a darker section there that's not on here. So I'm going to add that in like that. And I carry on filling in the pupil there. So making sure all that's nice and dark. Now I'm using a 2B pencil, so obviously the colour comes off slightly darker and deeper than if you were using a HB pencil. And I'll get that top bit in there. Okay, and now I'm going to look at the same bit. So I can see here at the top of the eye, we've almost got like this semicircle section here. That is also a lot darker. So I'm going to fill that in as well. It's all pretty much the darkest colour, the darkest tone. So we'll fill that in. Okay, and then you can see it's also quite dark around the outside of the eye, around here as well. So I'm going to start working my way around. The outside of the eye. And still, my eye is travelling backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. Okay, now what I can see is we've got a slightly lighter, it's not the lightest, but a slightly lighter grey area around the eye there. So I'm going to use my shading. I'm going to start to shade that area in. And you can also see that that doesn't go directly just from black and then a straight line of the grey. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to buff over that and I'm going to do a bit of a gradient, like what we've been doing earlier on in the booklet. Okay, and we've also got that same grey around the outside edge. So I'm going to add that in as well. Now again, it doesn't just go from dark to light, so I'm going to do a bit of a gradient there and here as well. And then also you'll see that it doesn't just go like solid black line and then grey. So that gradient is also going to come in useful around the edges here. You practice doing small gradients. This is the kind of area that comes in very useful for. So it's going to go from dark to light, come from the outside in. We're not got any sharp edges. Like that. And then this area here in the middle is a lot much lighter grey. So we're going to shade that in the lightest grey that we've got. Okay, so it's going to go from dark in the centre of the eye, gradient a little bit lighter, working its way out. And you can see I'm just sort of hatching a little bit. Sorry, shaking the table then to get that in. Now, what you will see is there's almost like a bit of texture in the eye. There's all these lines that come from the centre outwards and then from the outside inwards. I'm going to use my pencil, very sharp edge, to add those. What I'm not doing is I've not got lines like this. They are more like feathers, so some of them are longer, some of them are thinner. And they're coming from the inside out, different lengths, and then the same from the outside. Just adding in a little bit of texture that we can see. Okay. You can see we're starting to shape up. It's by no means finished or absolutely perfect, but as a very quick basic of transferring the information or the detail over, it works very, very well, and you can start to work into it. You can rub sections out if you need to. So that's the iris and the pupil. We've got that little bit there in the middle to shade in, and then we've got a bit of shading over here that we can see. So I'm just going to shade that in. Okay. The next thing that I'm going to look at is the white of the eye. So you can see here we've got some shading going on. I'm going to start light, and then I can always build up if I need to. Now, like in the demonstration, I've mentioned this a couple of times previously as well. We know that the light is traveling from the eye in this direction. Okay, so what that means is it's going to cast a shadow underneath the eyelid, and that's what this shadow is here. So I'm going to go back, and this is where my gradient can come in again. I'm going to go from dark to light. That. Bringing that down this edge here a little bit. Okay, and the same over here. Got this section over here. I'm going to start nice and light with my pencil, and then I can deepen it up if I want to. It's always much easier to add pencil on top to make it darker if you need to, than it is to take it away, because if you take it away then you've got to rub out the entire bit. Whereas really if you start nice and light, and still my eye's going backwards and forwards as I'm doing this, if you start nice and light, you can always build up on top. Okay, I'm going to go up to the eyelid up here. I'm going to do the same thing. Again, it kind of goes like dark to light. We've got like a strip of lightness behind the eyelashes, so forget about the eyelashes for now. I'm going to do that going from dark to light, dark to light. It's like a gradient. And I'm going to do the same from where the eyelashes, because it's quite dark there at the top. We're going to join it almost, but keeping it nice and light. And you would carry on going all the way across, and then you would do the same going up, so it goes from dark, gradually lighter, just a little bit above it. So sometimes I'm doing a backwards and forward shade, sometimes I'm just doing individual pencil lines and pencil strokes. You do whatever suits you best. Okay, you'd carry it on all the way across, obviously. And then underneath, we're going to do the same thing. We've got this line here. So again, I'm going to start to build and add the shade that's running along the bottom of the lash here. Now I can see I've got this white section that's left. It's a lot lighter, so I'm going to sketch that in and use that to introduce my shade and tone at the bottom. A little bit darker there on the inside of the eye. And here's where the eyelashes are coming out. You can add those in if you need to. But you're just going to carry on going around the eye, finding bits of detail, making sure that you turn your hand and your pencil in the right direction. And don't always keep it exactly the same direction. Sometimes you will need to go from the side, sometimes you need to go from both. Sometimes you'll need to turn your piece of paper a completely different direction, okay? It's up to you to fill in the detail and transfer it across as best you can. Now, for some of you, this will be super easy and you'll be absolutely fine with it. And you'll be like, wow, I was so good at that. It looks so good at the end of it. And then for others, you still might be struggling with this, and that's also absolutely fine. Like I said, we're your art teachers. It's our job to see where you're at and then help you in lessons when we're back in the classroom. Okay? Be good. Be safe, guys.